The autumn chill nipped at the bustling sidewalks outside ABC's Upper West Side studios in New York, where the Tamron Hall Show's sunlit set buzzed with the pre-taped energy of a mid-morning taping on this brisk October 20, 2025, the audience of fashion-forward fans and royal watchers clutching their insulated mugs and glossy programs like talismans against the hype. Tamron Hall, the 55-year-old dynamo with her radiant smile and unyielding poise, glided onto the stage in a tailored sapphire pantsuit that popped against the colorful backdrop of velvet armchairs and blooming orchids, her signature bob framing a face that had anchored crises and charmed confessions alike. Welcome to another hour of real talk, real heart, and a little royal sparkly, because why not start your week with some Windsor winds? She beamed, her voice a melodic mix of Texas twang and journalistic jazz, as the crowd of about 150 whooped, a sea of signs reading "Harry, we love you" bobbing like buoys in a bay. The episode's agenda simmered with seasonal sizzly fall fashion fails, a quick-fire recipe for spiced apple cider, but the marquee draw was the rare daytime drop-in from Prince Harry, the 41-year-old exile-turned-activist, fresh from a TED Talk on mental health in Montecito, here to promote his upcoming podcast series on fatherhood under fire and the Invictus Games' global expansion. He emerged from the wings with that signature Sonder, security detail blending into the shadows, his auburn hair artfully tousled, dressed in a casual chic ensemble of olive chinos, a heather gray cashmere sweater, and loafers that whispered off-duty Duke louder than any decree. Settling into the guest seat with a wave that sent the audience into orbit, Harry flashed his megawatt grin, the one that had thawed frosty press corps from polo pitches to palace skates. Tamron perched beside him, crossing her legs with effortless elegance, kicking off with the warmth of a long-lost cousin. "Harry, honey, you look like you just stepped off a Santa Barbara surfboard." Seriously, Spill, how does a prince-turned-podcaster juggle sippy cups and spotlights without spilling the tea? Harry's chuckle rolled out rich and resonant, that refined accent softened by SoCal sun, as he dove into a delightful detour about Archie's latest obsession with building forts from couch cushions, turning their sprawling villa into a kingdom of chaos. "Tamron, it's less bolo mallets, more Play-Doh diplomacy. Lily's already negotiating treaties over goldfish crackers," he quipped, drawing peals of laughter that echoed off the exposed brick walls. The crowd ate it up, smartphones aloft like lighters at a concert, as Tamron nodded along, her eyes alight with genuine glee. "I feel that my Moses had me arbitrating dollhouse disputes at dawn. But Invictus, wow, 10 years of turning scars into stars." Walk us through that Vancouver victory lap. What's the one moment that still gives you chills? Harry leaned in, painting a poignant picture of a Somali refugee crossing the finish line in a marathon wheelchair race, tears mingling with triumph under stadium lights, his voice cracking just enough to humanize the headline maker. The segment soared on wings of whimsy, Tamron interjecting with her insider anecdotes from covering Diana's legacy. "A girl, your mum was my first feminist icon," while the house band teased a soft strum of Wonderwall as a nod to his cheeky Spotify playlist. Phones captured every candid crinkle of his eyes, the vibe a velvet vortex of vulnerability and victory, priming social scrolls for feel-good fodder. Yet, as applause ebbed and Tamron swirled her steaming chai, her gaze sharpened with the prosecutor's precision from her MSNBC days. "Harry, you're all heart out here in the hustle-free zone, but let's lean into the legacy." Spare dropped bombshells on brotherly brawls and balcony betrayals. With William's Windsor whirlwind and your West Coast wave, is the olive branch buried under the Beverly Hills brush, or blooming in secret? America wants the update. How has the frost thawed, or are we still in freezer burn? The studio sighed collectively, Harry's fingers pausing mid-gesture, the air acquiring a subtle charge, like static before a squall, as light-hearted liaison edged toward loaded ledger. Whispers wove through the audience like threads in a tapestry of tension as Harry's easy demeanor dimmed a degree, his posture perking up like a sentinel spotting sails on the horizon, fingers interlacing with deliberate calm while the set's ambient hum from the whir of cameras to the faint fizz of audience soda seemed to hush in deference. Tamron, attuned to the pivot like a jazz musician sensing a key change, tilted her head with empathetic allure, her gold earrings swaying like pendulums of persuasion. No pressure, just curious that we've all got family feuds that fuel therapy funds, yours just fund headlines. But Harry, exhaling through a nostril flare that betrayed the banked timbers of old wounds, met her eyes with a gaze forged in frostbitten family facades and flashbulb fusillades. Tamron, curiosity's the cat's curse. Spare wasn't scorched earth, it was surgery. Lancing boils built over decades of spare the rod, spoil the narrative. Williams wired for the world stage. I'm the spare spark, igniting Invictus while dodging daggers from dispatch desks. Thawed? More like flash frozen. The last Easter egg hunt was via emoji, not embrace. The crowd murmured a mix of uhs and doos, a few fans clutching pearls imaginary or otherwise, as Tamron's brow furrowed not in judgment but journalistic joust, her voice velvet over vanadium. Surgery? Bold cut, Harry. You sliced open the firm's facade, from Meg's marooned moments to Diana's dodged truths. But Exile's empire building begs the question, is podcasting payback, or peace pipe? Charles calls you the prodigal. Skeptics say you're the podcaster profiting off pain. Where's the line between airing grievances and airing grudges? Smartphones steadied for the standoff, #Harry on Tamron trending tentatively in test tweets, the show's sisterly sanctuary straining under scrutiny's sieve. Harry's cheeks warmed with a Highland hue, not ire but the itch of interrupted healing, his hand gesturing broadly as if mapping a minefield. Payback? Tamron, that's the tabloid tango you know too well. Paint the prince as profiteer while the palace polishes halos with PR polish. Grudges? Nah, growth therapy Tuesdays over tiara tussles. You chase the line? It's blurred by broadcasts like yours, beaming bombshells to breakfast tables without the briefing on blowback. A smattering of gasps gilded the gallery, the audience teetering on the tightrope of Team Harry versus Truth Seeker Tamron, as she countered with a compassionate cadence, leaning forward like a counselor in crisis. Blowback? Honey, I've taken hits from Hyra and BC exits, network nosedive but I didn't dash to diaries for dollars. Growth's gorgeous, but Spare's shadow looms large. Fans feast on the feud, not the forgiveness. Is reconciliation a red herring, or just rerouted via rhinotherapy retreats? The riposte ricocheted rapidly now, Harry's pleas for privacy's premium parrying Tamron's probes on public persona's price, the armchairs no longer allies but arenas, the house lights lending a confessional glow to the gathering gloom. Crew cues flickered furtively in the booth, whispers of warm welcome turning wildfire weaving through wires, as the energy ebbed from effervescent to electric, the plaza pedestrians pausing mid tried to peer at the glass-walled gale. What commenced as cozy confab careened toward combative crossroads, chronicles clashing Harry's Oprah odysseys and Oprah Ulsters against Tamron's today tenacity and truth-telling tenacity, the dialogue devolving from dialogue to duel, tension taut as a tripwire tripped by two truthful tongues. The director's dashboard danced with distressed signals as the altercation accelerated, Harry heaving himself upright with the restrained rage of a royal reign too long, his sweater sleeve snagging on the chair's fringe like a flag of frayed fraternity, voice vaulting to a velvet-veined vehemence that vibrated the vases of viburnum on the side tables. Line blurred? Tamron, your lens is the luxury problema lounging in limelight legacies while I lug the luggage of leaked letters and lurid leaks. Spare salvaged sanity, not spidey recast it as revenge porn for ratings roulette. Podcasts. They're plasters on wounds your world widens with every where's Willy? Wink. The audience ignited an ideological inferno, half-hollering huzzas for the Duke's dauntless defense, half-huffing at the host's harried aura as Tamron too ascended, her pantsuit poise unbroken, palms pressing the armrests like anchors in an anchorage assault. Revenge porn? Harry, that's harsh heat from a hearth you helped heat. I've hustled from Houston humidity to headline heat without hawking heirloom heartaches. Sanity's sacred, but so's scrutiny. Your Sussex saga sells seats, but skips the stitch-up. Dash the diaries? Your dashing duties while we dissect the debris. A stagehand's soft steady was swallowed by the swell, the bandleader blanching behind his basses mix magnified the maelstrom, the set's serenity shattered like a dropped decanter. Yet Harry, fury flaring like flares in a foxhole, swept a stack of show swag branded mugs and memoir markers off the low table in a symbolic side swipe, porcelain pinging like punctuation points of protest. Scrutiny. Your spotlight's a snare, snagging stories for syndication while the firm festers in fog. I'm no hawker, I'm he'll refix your frame before framing my fractures as fiasco. With that fulminating flourish, he wheeled toward the wings, weaving past wide-eyed wardrobe wranglers and a teetering tray of tamales, his detail detaching from decor like deltas and deluge, the green room portal parting to pilfer him from the pandemonium. The portal pulsed shut with a pneumatic punctuation, resounding through the reeling realm, as Tamron touched her temple, subsiding slowly with a shaky exhalation, her team tiptoeing in triage. Phew, that was Windsor wildfire, she wisecracked weakly, coaxing cautious claps from the confounded congregation, as the tape toggled to tepid topics at tartan trends and turkey tips masking the melee with mundane montage. Frenzy followed fast, floor crew fumbling fragments, network nabobs notifying in neon notes, while #Tamron kicks Harry kindled like kerosene on kindling, vignettes vanishing into viral vortexes by vending hour. Commentators converged by cocktail o'clock a.e. Entertainment extolling Harry's Herculean honesty, variety vexing Tamron's tenacious tango, page 6 parsing the potshots in prurient prose. By gloaming, glossies gushed, Harry's hall hallucination, from spare to scorned in 60 seconds. Amassing admirers akin to arch eulocutions. Holed up in his Hudson years haven, Harry hashed it over herbal tea with his handler, hologram of the hubbub haunting his handset, a half-grin grudging the grit as she sparred sharp salute the spine. Tamron, toasting with tequila alongside aids, toasted the tumult with tenacity. Talks a tempest, toss the teacups, treasure the truth. And amid the media maelstrom, the ousting ossified to Odyssey, yet another yoke in the yoke of yesteryear's yarns, where one vitriolic volley vaulted vignettes to Valhalla, validating that even midday musings can mutate to mutiny beneath the baleful beam of broadcast's boundless blaze.